What is the foster youth, adoption, all of that? What is one of the things you hate about, or the stigma of adoption?
I think a lot of people feel that like they have to be affluent or wealthy to adopt. Certainly, private adoption, adopting kids from foreign countries can be a little bit more costly. I remember one foster mom, or excuse me, adoptive mom, telling me that she had spent like $50,000 trying to bring her daughter home from South Korea or whatever it was. But I think that's a stigma that's attached to adoption, that you have to be rich or affluent in order to do it, when there are many kids here in the States that the process isn't so costly. Matter of fact, in our state, CYFD will help cover many of the costs for the adoption attorney and help pay for the adoption to go through. So, I mean, if you have a loving home and go through the process of a little bit of training and getting your home licensed, which means like a home study, and that's all in the name of safety and whatnot for that kid going into the home, that you can, become an adoptive parent. So I think that's one of the stigmas I would like to kind of get away from in terms of adoption and fostering.
Yeah, that's so nice that there's like the state agencies in the country will help out with like covering the cost for that. And like for, again, my case for like my open adoption, there wasn't like, I don't think there were really many costs associated with it at all for me to get adopted into another family. So I think there is that stigma that you do have to have money to do it. So I like that. This is an interesting question I have. Do you think it's a right or a privilege for someone to be a parent?
I absolutely think it's a privilege. I mean, I'm a dad myself. I've got 3 kids, Castle, Hayden, and Charlotte, and it's absolutely a privilege of mine to raise them, to teach them, to be the best versions of themselves. There's too many stories out there of these forgotten kids and kids that aren't being adopted, that waste away years in the foster care system, that are failed by the system, and I think that it's absolutely a privilege to be a mom or dad.
Yeah, I think that happens so often. I hear it all the time, these parents that are like, I always wanted to be a mom, I always wanted to be a dad. And it's like, none of us have that right to be a mom or dad, but every child has the right to a mom and a dad.
Absolutely.
And I think we neglect that.
Absolutely.
Because then we see all this brokenness that then occurs, and then you have to deal with all these awful cases that you see come up, and it's just so heartbreaking because we're not focusing on the other person in the situation. So I thank you for that.